Welcome back to the analyst desk ahead of the final game of the day, DFM versus Rascal Jester. And coming into this match, I'm going to try not to harp on about DFM too much, because as things stand, it's very difficult for anyone to get the Yaharong idea about how dominant this squad is. Like, we were talking about Burning Core, Sengoku, these teams have been showing up, right? They've still been falling short, though, of this just titanic roster. And at this point, it's looking like it might take a huge evolution from one of the other squads to even take a game off them, let alone steal first place. Melvin Izzle, I'm gonna come to you with this though. Rascal Jester are looking like the last team with a real shot of stopping them from going 14-0. And if the Jesters are to kill the Kings, how are you expecting to see them go about it?
I'm a bit worried if they actually have the soul to be able to get away with that one. And to recap the first match that these two teams had together, it was actually looking back to the summer split. The reason that Rascal Jester got their initial win over DFM was that MSI hangover. And it worries me because I feel like the soul of this team just isn't there. And I don't know what their secret was, but at the start of the split, Rascal Jester lost their game to DFM. And I know, Dodge, it's been a little while. I've not actually met you yet. We've not really talked for that long. I know that was a bit of a difficult one. And as far as it goes, I don't think that Rascal Jester have got much that they're going to be able to take it away for this one. And you may be thinking that in our name intro, we forgot about Utapon. I know.
That
I will
was
not.
brilliant.
Hang on. So I will not apologize for the Utah puns. I did not expect him to pull that out though.
The Utapons. Oh my
I had
goodness
no
gracious.
idea Melvin Izzle was going to do that, and well played, sir. The pun rally is fantastic.
Never tell me you're putting in a pun monologue. Never give me time to think.
I feel like a spectator at an Olympic ping pong match, gentlemen. That was I just had to witness this volley back and forth. It was a thing of beauty, but I can't lie, I was not able to keep a straight face. I couldn't act like it was normal.
It's not normal.
This is
Oh.
you don't exactly. Just lean right into it. That's the only way it can be. Right. All jokes aside, though.
Yeah.
We have a match on our hands.
A big match.
DFM is 10-0. Looking poised to go 14-0 if Rascal Jester can't stop them. Melvin Izzle, how can they stop them?
So, without actually, I'm not starting another monologue, but recaps Vigar is the main thing that we need to be looking
It's
at right here.
disgusting.
It's very,
Yeah.
very good. It is their most played champion so far, and it shuts down a lot of what Yaharong has. While they have played it themselves, I think it is the primary champion we need to be looking into this champ select to see. Because across the rest of the map, these bot laners, both good, but the thing is for me, Sol and Secret actually haven't looked like themselves. Last split, it was, you got Utapon Gang, you got Sol and Secret, you got Honey Nemo. Everybody else was just nowhere close. These three dominated the league. Sol and Secret have not been performing as much. We really need to see this bot lane get reignited if it's going to be a close competition. And there's just so many ifs and buts for me for Rascal Jester to be able to take this game. If they do, suddenly we have a split on our hands, because then, like we say, we got the four-way tie for second place. DFM don't get to match their undefeated streak from last split. I believe it was the 13
that
games
streak?
in a row that they got to.
13 wins.
They lost the first three from the MSI slump and then just kept winning and winning and winning. They won the tiebreaker and they actually won their first match in the Juggernaut against Rascal Jester, which Rascal Jester managed to take overall, but that's a whole thing for another day.
Yeah, I think the win streak gets fuzzy when you start considering playoffs, but it was a long, unbroken streak of wins. That is for sure.
And
yeah.
I mean, if DFM take this, then I mean, I've already alluded to it twice, but 14-0, 21-0, like undefeated splits do not happen often. We're thinking 2015 Fnatic. We're thinking I can't remember what year Immortals pulled it off, but
2022 T1 maybe?
Possibly, quite possibly. And I mean, that would be ridiculous. A spring split where two regions had undefeated teams. Imagine
2021 PSG Talon as well, no?
True. That's a good catch as well. Yeah, that's it.
I can't recall if it was spring or summer, but they definitely went undefeated one of those splits.
Don't keep up on the PCS enough. I need to keep up. I need to do that better. But yes.
Oh, and of course,
Thank you,
2015
production, yeah.
SKT. Thank you, production,
almost
for
like
reminding us
almost
of
like
one of the
yeah, it's almost
best.
like T1's pretty good or something. I don't know. I've
Nah.
heard that Faker guy, like he came from being a rookie to just being really good.
We don't talk about LCK after Aria left. We're all about Yaharong now. We are Yaharong gamers, enjoyers of the new DFM, and I think that this is most likely, well, we've been kind of umming and ahhing of if Rascal Jester can actually take the game. In reality, nobody is expecting DFM to lose at this point. We are hoping that Rascal Jester give us a competitive split, give us a competitive game even, that would be nice,
Yeah.
but in reality, like, what is DFM's weakness? We have not seen it.
Yeah, it's definitely a Hydra situation. You attack one area of DFM and the rest strike back even stronger. It regrows from the weakness and it never stops. I think we sort of looked at, can Ino find a way to contain Evie, who has been on a carry tear, the likes of which we haven't really seen from him before this season, playing a lot of that really lane dominant stuff like the Camille and the Tryndamere, pushing out and just styling, even picking up a Jace win against V3, which is very much out of his wheelhouse. So it just feels like there's no area you can point to on DFM and say, well, they're weak here, because even Evie is just like, no, I'm going full Chad mode. That's what this year is. This is our year. Well, as every
Seems
year.
that way. Also, obviously, we need to shout out, obviously, DFM Bobby, as his teammates call him now. Steel has played so much Poppy that his teammates refer to him as Bobby, B-O-B-I. And he's played so many games on Poppy, has looked so ridiculously good on the Poppy. He's drawn a couple of bans. And if you're looking to try and go for spoiler picks, a lot of the counter picks that you want to pull out often just kind of incidentally, not even necessarily get countered, but don't have the best angles into a Poppy.
She's a very good, just shutdown champion, ruins a lot of your potential. I think that when you have a team that is just breathing experience across the map like DFM does, they know how to answer cheese, they know how to answer legitimate picks, and Poppy's very good for shutting down anything that comes up in the game that is unexpected. Anything that is like, oh, okay, well, we ended up going down slightly at an objective fight. We lost 2 members. Poppy Ultimate equalizes that instantly. You can take a fair fight, and it just gives so much playmaking potential for this team that just has everything going for them so far.
That's just it. Like, Keeper's Verdict makes unfair fights fair and fair fights unfair. Because you're in a 4v5, all right, we'll make it into a 4v4 or you're in a 5v5, nah, 5v3. And yeah, it turns out that in a game of League, unless you're like 10 plus K down, having an extra person in a fight can usually overcome a gold disadvantage. And to be fair, DFM, I don't think have ever actually had to deal with a significant gold disadvantage.
I won't go
How stupid that is.
acting like I can quote the Games of Legends stats exactly, but I'm sure if you check their time at a major deficit, it is very, very low. And it's, that hammer, Steel has been so accurate in all of these Poppy games at always hitting the correct target, the most high value target to remove from the fight as well. It's not like he's knocking an 0-3 support Yumi out of the fight. He's going for those carries. He's getting the jungler out of the pit in what would be 50-50 situations. We think of Poppy as a boring champion to play, and maybe Steel's not having a great time playing it, but he's sure making it fun to watch, which is quite the accomplishment.
I know. Actually, to be fair, I suppose we talk about like the likes of the Yankos Sejuani and how he's like had to play it a lot, but hated it. But the way that Steel plays, like obviously whether you like or dislike a champion doesn't really affect your play that much. But from the atmosphere in the team, at least, obviously I can't speak to how Steel feels, but the way he seems to be playing, it looks to me like he's having a blast on that champion. And we are into pick and ban now. So I will hand off to you for the last time of the day. Guys, take it away for this crucial match.
Thank you so much, Brackish. We are into draft as the dawn does break over here on the East Coast of the United States. We are at the very end, the twilight of another week of the LJL here, our final game of the day and the week. Let's hope it delivers on all expectations as DFM self-banning the Poppy along with that Vigar for recap.
Huh.
Maybe Steel is saying, guys, I can't do it anymore.
Just let me play the Hecker in one game. Let me have a fun one, as both of the
There you go.
main ADCs are open, so it makes sense to pick something like this. The Jinx and the Aphelios are both available. RJ aren't going to take both. It does give them the option of the Jinx Thresh, or they could potentially just lock in a jungler with it. Lee Sin, most likely one, I would say. As far as it goes, Diana is still on the table, actually. There are other utility picks as well. We'll have to see what Hachimecha really revolves down to.
Yeah, Hachimecha has looked, okay. He's looking onto Jarvan. That was not where I was going with that, but Jarvan, I'm not going to lie, Melvin, I don't like its synergy with Jinx all that much. He can force early plays, but I feel like when you have the Thresh available on R2 there, ready for the taking and ready to go, you can wait on jungle a little bit, but it will be the handshake. It's the other hyper carry going over to DFM. You have to feel the hover is on Aphelios, and the general vibe is that the lock-in will be Aphelios here to match the Jinx.
This is fair enough. Both of these ADCs are very good in their own right, but we know that Utapon is an absolute monster right now, having a killer split with Ebby, and while we do have DFM on the blue side, it means that we're going to get something tricksy, hopefully, from Rascal Jester at the end of this draft. Right now, is just going to be deciding who is going to get counterpicked right now. Will it be the support role? Will it be the mid lane? I doubt it'd be top, but they could do. The Ahri is a good option, as we'll get Yaharong pulling that one out. It is a very safe blind pick, especially into Recap, who has been an extremely proficient role player for the team. Curious to see if they're going to look towards something like the Vex, that is such a good diving buddy for the Jarvan.
Yeah, Yaharong adding another notch in the champion ocean belt here with the Ahri. I do believe that makes 9 unique champions? I would have to
8
count.
or 9. He's got
8
a
or
lot.
9. Somebody call Nymera, by the way. We will have a magnifying glass over the build decisions for Yaharong on this game. But it is the Catfish that is picked up for Rascal Jester. Interesting that they would opt for Tahm Kench over Thresh. They both do similar things, right? They're both these sort of peeling guard for your hyper carry supports that are so popular in the meta right now alongside those hyper carry ADCs. But I typically think of Thresh as the more premier. You know, he's the shiny one on the top shelf of the store. Tahm Kench is more of a mid-shelf appealing support in my mind. But after seeing some Rel performances earlier today, perhaps, Rascal Jester going to take that one off the board. Don't want to see it get through this game.
You don't want to be playing Tahm Kench into Rel, because with that Q, she could just destroy shields. And Tahm Kench really relying on those shields to be able to not only get his carry out, but now that they reworked the Devour on the ultimate to give a shield, actually getting double value potentially from the Rel with that, as we do get 2 hard engaged supports saying, DFM, we want you to have the Thresh because it's not a good diving buddy with the Aphelios and with the Hecarim Ahri. So I like that. I'm expecting a Leona from DFM, but you already have the Tahm, so he's very happy to play into most melee champions, being able to eat up your ADC and save them from things like the Charm, like the Big Fear. I think that's mainly the reason that we see Secret go to this, as opposed to what is more flashy, Thresh-like champions.
Yeah, definitely so. As now Rascal Jester having those solo lanes left to pick up, it'll be curious to see where they do choose to save that counter pick. Recap really getting banned out here.
Okay.
Oh, it's the Zillion lock-in!
Okay, alright. That's fine.
For the time, Father.
You need to get a super carry in the top lane now, and DFM know it, so you have to be thinking, what are they going to be picking up? Will it be something like the Tryndamere, or are they going to be looking more like the Camille? And that leaves you with a lot of questions of what Ebby wants into it. Don't know how I feel about that, Hover, we'll see. I'm expecting something potentially in the support role. I was thinking we could get that Soraka again from Harp into the Tahm Kench, but the thing is, it doesn't dive very well with the Hecarim. That is the Yuumi. They actually pick it. Not a very good lane with the Aphelios itself, but if you are able to avoid getting engaged on by Tahm Kench, you can just get a free lane out of this.
If you cast your mind back to the first day of the split, Harp on this Yuumi, sort of leaving Utapon all on their lonesome to pair up with Steel on the Diana. I feel like it's going to be a similar story here again, as that is a nice restoring a balance to the world It's okay.
I have
Evie won't
returned.
be playing hard carries ever again, everybody. We've returned to
I have brought the LJL
caveman.
back to balance. Sengoku
We got
losing
Gnar.
and Gnar returning. Show me the Renekton lock-in, Rascal Jester. Just do it already. Come on. Okay, thank God.
I like
Something
this
actually
much
good.
better than the Renekton.
Yes, I definitely like it more. I think the Camille is great. Obviously, into the Gnar is good because you can lock them down and beat them up in the side lane. But also, having a secondary carry for your Zillion Tahm Kench is really important because otherwise all of the eggs are in the soul basket. And I don't know if that's exactly where you want to be when you're against a Hecarim Ahri.
Yeah, this has been, in my opinion, one of the most exciting total days of picks in the LJL so far. We've gotten a lot of really cool, unique stuff, including a very, very aggressive look from both teams in our last game. I mean, I don't even have to speak on what a banger V3 had to open up the day. But yeah, definitely just a great day of cool stuff. We got Zillion, we got Yuumi, we got Enchanters, Melvin. Enchanters, more than we know what to do with. Who's going to be the superior Enchanter in this matchup, though?
I want to say Zillion is my favourite enchanter this game. And that's because we've already said DFM started off their comp with a dive. They have the Ahri and the Hecarim who want to dive in and get resets. If you do not get the kill, Ahri does not get the ultimate reset, which means Zillion and Tahm Kench ruin her day, because it means that Ahri basically just goes back to pre-rework version without a damage amp on the E at that point. And I think that this is a really clever way for Rascal Jester to try and play around what DFM had already drafted. Biggest question for me, though, is going to be this side lane. If Ebby can survive and thrive, then suddenly this looks extremely different because they have way too many tools to overpower Rascal Jester with. If not, then I think Rascal Jester are actually favoured this game.
Yeah, to say, I quite like the Rascal Jester assembly they've created for themselves in the draft here. One thing I especially like is, let's be real, if you're a support who's not named Keria, Tahm Kench doesn't offer a lot of forward chase momentum to a lot of teams. He's not the best engager, even with that rework W that does allow him to move forward and find a knockup. But when you pair it with Hachimecha on the Jarvan, you get that Cataclysm down. It's like throwing Zillion bombs in a Vigar cage, right? You can't miss the W if everybody's in a enclosed area the size of your W. So that Abyssal Voyage hopefully going to be finding a lot of forward-facing value for Secret, not just as a retreating tool, but we are right on into game. And once again, we get these more sort of standard point defense than anything too spicy. No early invades. Still going to have to keep an eye out for the late invades. We did see that come through very strongly in our last game. And of course, the runes. Nothing too out of the ordinary across the board. Although I'm no expert on the Ahri runes.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah,
what is
this?
That is aggressive.
Soul and Secret definitely feeling themselves here, chunking out Udapon, forcing him to go into one of those pots. It is the longsword 3-pot start, so plenty of sustain available, especially with that red gun as well. But Soul not shying away from getting this poke down, even onto Harp as they detach there, trying so hard to jockey for the wave push level 1. Hachimecha read right into the chickens. Now going to move on forward as Steel going to do the Gromp. So starting on the same side of the map and both pathing down towards bot. I think we know where to look for the early action in this one. Recap getting chunked out quite a bit here.
So I'm a little bit worried.
Oh,
because I was taking a look through. Yeah, and while it wasn't necessarily any of the minor runes that we're looking at, Steel has had to go for the phase rush here because they are against a lot of slows across the board for Rascal Jester, most importantly that Zillion. So being able to get past that and really break through that boundary is going to be super essential. We do have Hachimecha though, walking over a ward on this invade. Steel knows, and you can see that Harp is already looking to come over.
Yeah, Harp was the first move from the bot lane, but look at Secret matching. Yaharong also moving on over. And in the end, neither of these junglers is doing anything right now. Are they really going to continue fighting here? The slow comes out, but Soul was left all by himself. The press, the attack is procced all the way. Udapon flashing for it, forcing the flash in response. Ooh. Can the Yuumi find the prowling projectile? The cat has done it, has caught the mouse out under the turret there. Soul will fall for the first blood over to DFM. the killer instinct from this DFM team just showing itself once again. You cannot give them an inch. They will take a mile.
And in the mid-fight, we had that it was actually Steel and Yaharong forced to use summoners, but at the end of the day, no kills went down. So this is not going to result in anything really positive for Rascal Jester. I like this from Ida, though. They are coming down trying to get something off the fact that this is a flashless Ahri. Let's take a look at how it actually played out in a wider screen, though. Ooh, as the mid lane fight is going down in the picture-in-picture, though.
Yeah, they actually do find Yaharong. I know does make that mid lane gank work, but on the
Crispy.
replay...
Oh, so, no, this was just too aggressive. They would just try to stay in range of the minions, and then they do a bit of fighting with Utapon, and it was just Harp returning back. Perfect timing. Is going to be just the freebie right there. We do get Rascal Jester evening it up, though, with that great roam down from Ino.
Yeah, I do quite like how Soul sort of saw the jig was up at a certain point, and resolved to die with honor, just stopped moving and let that prowling projectile come right on through. Yaharong getting a bit too comfortable, flashing the BM emote, recap coming right in, charmed up, but that doesn't matter when you find the kill. So nice little sequence of play coming out from Rascal Jester to even things, as you say. Still down about 600 gold here, and that gold sitting on the Yuumi. More impactful, I would say, than some early gold on other enchanters, because you have that adaptive force to share over with your AD carry, right? And
yeah, definitely. Partly that, and also because you could accelerate the Yuumi up to one item, and once they get to that point, that's when we can see Harp skedaddle, go support Steel, and not really be seen in the bot lane ever again. Put up the missing cat pictures, because they are going to be all over this place as soon as they head towards that presumed moonstone.
that betrayal we all feel from Yuumi in solo queue. Goodbye, Utapon. Friendship with Utapon ended. Steel is my best friend now. But this Hextech Drake is the first on the board, so we'll have to keep an eye around that bot lane as things continue to develop to see who will be the first to poke their head in and check it out. Maybe think about getting themselves a nice dragon pelt rug for their base. Not to mention going from the Wraiths, moving down, hovering around bot lane now. Wave in a fairly good state. Yaharong still no flash, of course.
This is definitely doable.
Here. Yeah, that's
Feels
slow
around.
from recap. Oh, it's so oppressive. Where's the counterplay to the point and click slow? Recap picking it up on Father Time here. And this has been a very productive early game for Rascal Jester. Some small hiccups allowed. Very, very nice from them.
I like it a lot of what they've got going here, especially with Sol actually going for the cull. The biggest issue, though, is you need these carries to be ahead. It's great to have this nice little isolated play you can do, and it's also very important to punish the Ahri before they hit 6, because after that, this is not a play you can replicate. Jarvan is worthless against Ahri. If you are ulting them, she cannot away. If you are going at them with the flag and drag and they're not already CC'd, the charm interrupts you, so you just stop in midair and it does nothing. So you really do need to be pressuring this tempo early, and it's something that throughout last split, I felt like Rascal Jester were actually one of the best teams in the league for identifying very narrow windows and punishing off them. So I want them to keep doing that. I want to see Ino keep roaming down to this mid lane and actually using their ultimate as one of the few things that can hold Yaharong still for long enough to actually kill them.
Yeah, going to have to use that tool very, very precisely. Steel now going to be picking up the bottom Scuttle Crab here, and it's hovering around, but this wave is not quite in the best spot. The level 6 is here. The Onslaught of Shadows at max distance could be really effective in finding a lone CC chain. Harp trying to play it cool, but I think Steel realizes there's not much doing right now, and will take the reset. Some nice wards down from Rascal Jester on and behind the pit here, Melvin. Could they perhaps look for a Drake anytime soon, or does that early gold and the continued wave push, although heavy, he's finding it onto Ino, it's the actual opposite lane of where we were focused for a moment, but just walks away. He just walks away casually. Cool ultimate, bro. I have a plant to go and pick up.
Ooh, they haven't seen Hachimechi yet, I don't think.
Yeah, Steel now. There was actually a pink in that
Ghost
brush, so... It's just a game of chicken. They're staring each other down. Ino getting the heal off that precision protocol, and now the fear coming out onto Ino, but down shout with the Hex Tech ultimate, and Cataclysm finds it! Evie flashes forward so aggressive, but Ino gets out. It's the double kill coming through for Hachimechi. And look at the bot lane secret having that shield.
Oh, he's got him! Oh! What is that HP again? Oh my goodness gracious, DFM doing whatever they can. So good from Rascal Jester, though. Oh my
What are they
god.
feeding LJL 80 carries today? They keep surviving in situations where it feels like it just shouldn't be happening. And Rascal Jester, it's not reflected by the gold lead, but in terms of tempo and mental
doing it.
advantage, perhaps, they're taking it to DFM in this early game right now.
So they haven't seen Hachimecha, and that's why we have Steel put down the ward. They know he's in the area, but they didn't know exactly where he was standing. And they keep the chase down going. You see Steel proccing the phase rush. But this was just such good patience from Rascal Jester. They decide to turn the play only because they're confident. With no resources left, Steel can be bursted out. And they get it. Ebby, once again, manages to, similar to every kill we saw last game, or the lack thereof, have their target escape on 3 HP, unfortunate for them, and it means that now the tempo of this game, like you say, is swung. Rascal Jester are in the driving seat. The only real negative for them is that they've not got ultimates in the top side, and that means that DFM feel more than enabled to rotate up and take this Herald.
Yep, so that is Shelly picked up, and now Evie finding the ult back right into that wallop, going to find a stun, but that passive from Ino actually blocking so much of the damage makes it a losing proposition for Evie, but he has backup. His allies are here. Steel galloping forward. That hook shot just going to take Ino away. Camille, so fair. And now the cross map is going to come out from Rascal Jester. Finally, this first Drake will be exchanged. But the plate's popping down, and Utapon, the benefactor of the gold here, definitely going to be a big one for him.
It's going to be good. But the thing is, you're leaving Soul with a tower, so you're happy, obviously. You get First Blood tower. It's a big winning play for DFM. Not sure I critique that. But on the other side, we do have Soul able to at least collect on something, and because DFM doesn't appear to be... Well, I say that, actually. They're looking to escort for a second crash, but now with Steel leaving, this is a vulnerable Aphelios at the moment.
Yeah, Evie just trying to pick up these wraiths, but Hachimetra will have none of it in the enemy jungle. Yaharong on the swing around, recap right with him. Evie charging up that Narbar, the transform ready any moment. Can they force a play here? The tier 2 actually falling in the top lane. In the meanwhile, so much time being wasted. Soul will finally trade back a tier 1. But the gold swing was actually so huge off of this series of plays from DFM. They went into down, but with that, Rift Herald found a full 5 plates worth of gold through that top side, found the first turret bonus, and then even found a tier 2. So that's a lot of gold. In the end, it just sort of erases the slight lead Rascal Jester had, though, right? So things are right back to that tabula rasa. We're on a blank slate. It's 19.1 all around, and things can finally chill out a little bit.
And I think that that's troublesome, actually, for DFM. Because when you have the Ahri and you have a Hecarim, you really do want to be accelerating the game pretty much from level 6 onwards. You want to be getting around the map and forcing things onto side lanes. But by killing that tier 2 tower, there is the option for Rascal Jester to just freeze in front of their inhib turret. And if they do that, there's really no good answer for DFM, because you would want to dive mid lane. But if you do that, you're against Tom Kench, you're against Zillion, even Cleanse actually on Soul. Yeah, you get punished so hard if you try and dive a tower and you mess it up. So I think that DFM, in taking such an aggressive play to the top side, has actually really scarpered their options for the future moments of the game.
As production is letting us know that Yaharong has not died more than twice in a single game this split, already up to that 2 death mark early here. Secret going to eat a bit of a prowling projectile, but that's the Kench. Just walks away for a moment and lets it regen all back up. Steel going to have to take those zoomies after being on the bad end of a trade from Soul. And that is really scary here, Melvin. We talked in the pre-show about how DFM, they don't have a weakness to prey upon, but we haven't gotten to see a look at this team quite yet, where the mid lane is not being one of the big threats on the map, is not really ahead, is not playing to the margins, very much on that side of close to perfection. So this could be a very different look for DFM, and obviously it's only a 200 gold lead. You don't want to count them anywhere near out, especially with the performance they've shown all through the split. But this could be scary as Hachimecha finds it on the steal. Now it is the final chapter coming back out to eat out. The trap placement not going to do very much, though, and Steel will get away with just a third, but the rocket finds him. And now Recap zooming on in, so it is the 1-for-1 trade. It's a jungler for support in the end. And I do think you're happy with that trade as Rascal Jester.
Most definitely, a lot of resources invested both ways, but you're gonna take that, especially because it gives you this prio for mid. And now with a Zillion plus Jinx, well, you thought you killed one of the bot laners, but no, here is a second one for you, as they're just gonna be able to push in, chip down the tower a little bit. It's not gonna result in anything significant because, and I love this from Rascal Jester, they're actually saying we're not gonna start hitting this tower, we're taking our resets, there's an Infernal up in a minute 10, and a Herald up shortly after. Let's get our laners in the right positions we want them, get them with as much gold as possible spent. You still have the teleport left for Recap Zillion to go back and buy that Everfrost, which I was waiting for a natural moment to bring it up. It looks like Yaharong is an Everfrost enjoy this game. What are your thoughts on that one?
Well, I can't lie. Ari's not my area of expertise, but I've talked to a mutual acquaintance of ours who has pretty strong feelings about Ari itemization, and I don't think Everfrost is on the top of their list of Ari items. So we'll see how that one goes. Can, of course, increase that lockdown along with the charm and really allow you to play around picks more convincingly, but I'm not a believer until I'm shown otherwise with that Everfrost on Ari. I'll put it that way.
So the positives and the negatives of this item right here. Positive, you can set up for your Hecarim for your Gnar. Negative, you are meant to be the only AP threat on the team. So if you are not actually able to one-shot people, which you definitely are not able to right now, then your damage goes to pot. So DFM need to play around this stylistically. It's not a wholly bad decision, it is a choice. And this choice is saying, at this point, we are going to wombo combo you in fights. If DFM fail to do that, it's all going to go downhill from there. And considering that Rascal Jester got this great reset off, they got their prio in mid again. Right now, DFM responding to it though, very well, chasing down Ino. Will they be able to catch him here though?
Yeah, it looks like the hookshot not quite back off cooldown yet. Now here it comes with the TP coming in to back up the play. So you will take that trade as Rascal Jester. I know smartly started backing up early, knowing that they had the free room on the Drake, that the cross map, the only punishing play left available was to try and pick him out. But now the return TP plays. Yaharong doesn't find the Everfrost, will ult forward, but Soul, the instant cleanse. The Captain Jack was good, but Evie knocking them all back. Secret taking the Abyss Voyage with the Jinx in his pocket, and now the Cataclysm to create so much zone. Ino in the backline will find Yaharong ticking so low. The Zillion has put the revive down. The Chrono Shift is on Ino, and this is going all Rascal Jester. Could this be the beginning of the end? Could this be the first domino toppling down to end the undefeated dream? That is 3 for nothing for Rascal Jester and a tier 2 in the mid lane to boot.
Oh, who needs carrier? That was one of the most exciting Tahm Kench plays I've seen, as now they get this tower, they get this Herald, and mind you, they're going to have plenty of time to look to accelerate the map now. They could be looking to just snowball down the top lane. They are not under any rush whatsoever. And watch this right here. They are immediately blocking off Steel and Harp's collapse. And because of the speed boost from killing the tower, Soul does not need to get eaten early. Which means when Ebby comes in, Secret waits out the CC. They know Charm is down. They know Hecarim has used his ult. So they can just yeet on out of there, take Soul to safety. And with Ino's flank, it is all over for DFM. There is no way you can win this, because as soon as Jinx gets this first reset, they can chase you down. And Ino doesn't even need the Zillion ult. It's that decisive.
That was one of the most beautiful sequences of Tahm Kench play I have seen in all my years as a League of Legends fan. Great stuff coming out of Secret there, and it will be the 3.5k gold lead that is the boon for Rascal Jester off the back of it. And if you look at these Drakes here, Melvin, in terms of 2 individual Drakes you can have before building up the soul stacking, these are the 2 most combat effective Drakes you can have. You have CDR, attack speed, and extra adaptive force just off these 2 Drakes. So things looking very good for Rascal Jester. Continue fighting, continue scrapping, and continue taking it to DFM here. I don't think anybody could have anticipated this. This has been such an exciting game.
Thing is, I'm going to bring us down for a couple moments just while we have... I'm
Reality
going to say...
check.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
not a
the 10-0
reality check.
team.
No, it is a 10-0 team, and we have complete faith in them, but
Yeah,
you have
here
Tom
comes the
Kench.
double wombo. Final chapter with Steel still trying to find Secret. The shielding came out, and now the Cataclysm, the flag drag back, but they cannot answer one back because now the Moonlight Vigil will not connect. I know, a bit late, cannot rotate over, so far it's just the support picked up, and there will be no counter punch. So just as we maybe call some attention back to just how good DFM are, they show it off, they find an unanswered pick.
But the thing is, they invested all of that to kill Secret, right? That wasn't a matter of summoners being blown. That was just killing Secret is what they got there. They didn't get TPs, they didn't get flashes, they got the kill on Tom Kench. And while that is good, it isn't going to do much for them right now. Because you had to invest a lot. Yaharong had to TP, Steel had to Ghost, which means around this dragon, around this Baron, there is going to be a good window for Rascal Jester to set up, and that is where they've been so strong this game. They have been really good so far at being where they need to be ahead of schedule, and when you have people like Recap on this enabling Zillion, if you're able to do that, there is a reason that I believe it's Cadril is saying that this champion is pretty much a free win, because he just denies any play you make, and when you're behind in gold income, you only get one good play, and if it gets denied by a Zillion ult, there's not much for you to do, honestly.
Zillion, big elo inflation champ. I should know because I've made the switch from being a top laner for most of my league career over to playing a lot of mid lane recently. I've been abusing Zillion. I love this pick. It is absolutely wonderful. As we see RJ hovering around the pit now with 45 seconds to go. It is a Cloud Soul, which can feel like a bit of a gut punch when you play so well in the early game. Secure yourself those first 2 Drakes to set up your Drake stacking, only to be rewarded with that windy boy staring you back in the face. Can definitely be a feels bad, as there was some jockeying over chickens there. So could we perhaps see Rascal Jester opt to say, we already have 2 Drakes built up, we don't have to play as hard for the third, or for the first Wind Drake? No, it looks like they will rush on over to this pit. They're not considering the Baron right now, they just want to continue this stacking.
You want the Soul point. After that, you could start to force the enemy team to do other things, because you could at least threaten Soul after this. DFM don't have the damage to take this Baron at the end of the day. They could look at it and they will kill it eventually, but they will not kill it in any time quick enough before the Zillion enhanced team rotates over to you fast enough. As we do have Hachimecha actually chucking the Herald down bot to further dissuade a Baron attempt, because if DFM went over there and forced Baron, that Herald will take a tier 2 on its own, as Recap getting caught out here, but it's Zillion.
Yeah, the charm right into the Everfrost, but it's the counter Everfrost into the double bomb. Who has more CC? Who is more obnoxious?
He's
It's
so good!
Jinx!
He's back! Soul and Secret are playing the game. He's actually playing the game. I love to see it. We have got not only a match, we have got another team that wants to throw down the gauntlet as Sengoku full Rascal Jester rise as they siege this inhib tower.
Yeah, I mean, this has just been such an amazing sequence of play coming out from Rascal Jester, and it's just as you say, that Herald getting so much unanswered work done down in the bot lane, cracking that tier 3 at the end of it all, and Yaharong severely underestimated what the consequence of this action would be. Oh, found him out! Guys, I got him! No,
as Soul, watch the rocket. He knows. They know where Yaharong is going. And it was pre-ordered right there. They had the rocket fired before Yaharong even committed the third dash. So cleanly done. Living rent-free in DFM's head right now. As Rascal Jester are marching their way to denying the win streak from DFM, which is so funny because DFM actually benefited off of Rascal Jester multiple times to get their win streak last season.
Yeah, it is a little bit of paying it forward, perhaps. But that was such a beautiful rocket angle coming out from Soul, because whether you predict the dash or not, Ari either has to juke back to avoid the rocket, putting her right in the jaws of your team, or has to juke forward and attempt to slip past the rocket, and Soul's just too good. He's never going to allow it to happen, and now he will be collecting another tier 1 turret in the back pocket, and Rascal Jester continuing to build 1 brick at a time, an impossible house. A house of impossible achievements as they look to topple the undefeated DFM here. They're hovering around the Baron. Steel getting real fast about things, trying to find out Soul, perhaps. That's a nice line of chompers out. And I know, in the meanwhile, is pinging out. What are they doing? They're investing so much time around the top side to accomplish nothing. Their inhib is bare and exposed, and I'm down here to threaten them. It's a nice little dance. It's a nice little tug of war, pulling all the right pieces to all the right places.
And when you look over to the Baron right now, you actually have pretty decent damage between the Jinx, and the Jarvan is actually not the worst in the world. At very least for getting it softened up to the point where DFM are forced to act. You have the added frontline as well with this Tahm Kench, so you can pretty much do it without woe. The only real issue I see though is the Baron does shred the MR, which means you are getting set up for a potential sweep if you do go for it, which I think is why Rascal Jester are just trying to play the map as opposed to play the objective.
And Hachimecha chunked out to half there. Soul does return a zap, but Zoomies will make short work of that. It's as if the skill shot never landed in the first place. You thought Zilean was the one with the time warping power as well. Yuumi can answer him in spades. And you can see Rascal Jester, they're playing it so patiently, as you say, not wanting to overextend, not wanting to throw away a good thing. They've played it so well, so precise up to this point. They're not going to throw it all away on a harebrained Baron attempt. They're just going to continue to try and pull DFM apart, play the dances around the objectives, pull multiple members away from what they truly want. Now they'll move forward. They have to sweep out some of this vision as the TP is coming in from Yaharong. The double TP now from Heavy as well. They're committing a lot to get over to this Baron.
Okay, that is absurd, actually. DFM throwing in 2 teleports right here. They need to force a play right now, or that is a massive sunk cost. Oh, Hachimecha right there. I don't know what that Q was, but it definitely scared me for a moment, as there is a play here.
As you say, they pick their moment, and now they have the TP in to answer in spades. Evie has the Narbar, though, finds it. The Hextech Ultimatum will find Steel, though. He can't run away. Hachimecha had the Ignite put down, but he is the Jarvan. The just-in-case Chrono Shift, and that's just the 3-for-0 coming out. Rascal Jester is making this look easy now, Melvin.
For me, this is just the game. What is an Ahri without ultimate to do with a Yuumi right here? You can't threaten them here. If you get too close, look, Secret's lurking. I love this. He is going to go on Yaharong, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. You are zoned. You're trapped. Yeah, oh, he gets one, though. He gets Jinx.
That could be the deciding factor. Can they take this without the AD carry?
It's going to be excruciatingly slow. Steel will be up, but he doesn't have Ghost, and the Dragon is up in 30. So I think what that's really done is, while it hasn't actually stopped Rascal Jester getting the Baron, it means now they can't contest the Dragon. As you see, Steel wasn't exactly sure how quick it was going to be. I mean, why would you be? This is an absurd group of champions to have around it. But watch the initial play. This is DFM, I would say, getting a bit worried, thinking they have to force something. But look, you can't do it. The Jinx always has the Tahm, and with the Zilean too. I think actually the Zilean ult, again, doesn't even get used because nobody even gets that low. You see Utapon going for the 1v9 play that nearly works, honestly. It was very, very close, but Rascal Jester here.
Yeah, they want this Cloud Drake. They don't want to give over the soul. The ultimate into the wild coming out from Evie, but now look at the backline. Utapon trapped up in that Cataclysm. Now the Tahm Kench comes in. He finds the double knockup. Steel is so low. Has the bomb on top of him as well. The Hextech Ultimatum locks up Utapon. He has nothing to do. The Rocket
He doesn't miss. He does not miss. Soul is online. Rascal Jester are activated, and they are going to siege down this mid. I would say for the game, honestly, there is nothing to stop them. No DFM, no 10-0 record. They are ready to take them down.
I mean, they have the purple armor on all these minions. They have the base cracking possibilities. Jinx finding one, getting exciting, forcing Evie back. Dodges out on the charm as well. These Nexus turrets will be the next target. Rascal Jester, they're doing it, and they're doing it in such convincing style. It hasn't just been a victory, it's been a bit of a stomp. They're up 9k, but have they overextended now? The final chapter, locking them all up. Steel moving forward. Evie with the ult backwards, but Secret has the stopwatch available. You cannot find him. That's the top laner for DFM gone in exchange for the support. And look at the revive on the Jinx. It's so perfectly timed. Jinx comes out to find the double kill. Now it's Yaharong getting forced back. They can crack another inhib here, or they can just go for the game. Soul continuing to chat out. He finds Hecarim as well, and they will find the game. They topple the undefeated record here in the LJL to Rascal Jester. They have done it.
They've only gone and crushed the record. So beautifully done, playing from the front foot forward and never missing a beat. Rascal Jester are back. Oh, thank God. Whew.
I have goosebumps. I'm in disbelief right now. had no concept in my brain when we sat down to cast this game, Melvin, that this could be the possibility, but it was so fun to see.
And with that, I believe that does actually make it the four-way tie for second of DFM going to the 10-1, and then Burning Core, CGA, Sengoku, and Rascal Jester all sat there for 7-4. But for my money, Rascal Jester is handedly at the top of that pack. Very cleanly done. And we got a league on our hands, right? Solid Secret
That we
looking
do.
clean at that game.
Yeah, and you're the one who put it all out in the universe. You might have cursed Sengoku by returning to the LJL with your wonderful color casting, but you definitely gave a boon to Soul and Secret. There's so much breakdown from that game, and we will get to it after a short break on the desk, so stay right where you are because we're going to need a lot of time to process that one. We'll be right back.
Let's go! Welcome back, everybody. After Rascal Jesters take down DFM, stop the win streak, can you tell I'm a little happy about this?
And
Yeah.
who isn't? Who isn't, honestly? Like, we love DFM at the end of the day. They're the kings of our region for a reason, but it's so much more interesting when we see them actually have to sweat a bit.
As I said on Twitter, Jesters get a passive buff against Kings. That is a reference I'm not sure many people will get, but
Like
those that
like
do will appreciate it, I'm sure.
Lost me on that reference. It almost sounds like some sort of abstract chess reference to my tiny peanut
Production
brain.
got it, it's all good.
But,
It is the song American Pie by, what's his name? Don something?
oh, Don McLean. Okay, yeah,
Yes.
I get you.
Yeah, I similar to production, thought I got it, didn't get. Let's talk about the actual game though. Let's
Yes,
focus
let's start
on
with
that. Where
draft.
do we all go? Okay.
Let's start with draft. Do we want to call that like draft Flame Horizon? Because DFM drafted Pick and then Tom Kent Zillion came out.
Yeah, they definitely didn't make it easier for themselves because when you had, to be fair, in the first rotation, it was the Rascal Jester had Jinx, Jarvan, and then the Tahm Kench. So there's two ways you could take that. You could go full dive and then just have the Tahm Kench as the solitary insurance for the Jinx. That makes sense, which is why I expect the Vex and the Syndra band away. Really goes to keep your Ahri safe in the early game by getting rid of the Syndra and then stops the super dives that can happen with the Vex. However, it was definitely Rascal Jester with the no you, flip it over to the Zillion that completely shut down everything DFM had going.
They just full on Uno reverse carded the draft. It was really, really spicy to see. And despite a couple of jitters early, obviously there was the early death for Sol in the bot lane when he got kind of left out to dry. But after that, very, very clean from the Jesters across the board. We saw them take territory, great vision lines. DFM were only realistically able to challenge for the last Drake, and we saw how that fight went. So, yeah, this is a really, really solid precedent for the Jesters going forward. Do they even challenge DFM for first?
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
this state.
I think that the biggest issue for them is they need other teams to beat DFM to catch up now, because of the slightly worse split, let's say, that they've had for the first half, and the fact that they took so long to really come online. I'm very much hoping that this wasn't a case of Rascal Jester rising to the occasion. I hope this was them coming back into form, because you start to see what this returning 4-member group on the bottom half of the map really can do. And integrating Ino properly on the side lanes, every time they force something, you could see them and the Camille just walk away. I'm going to back off. You can't dive me here. I'm leaving. And then it was always just this push and pull, this flowing state that Rascal Jester finds so well, the narrow windows that they just weave through vision to find the picks. I love this team when they're performing well, and we get to see a couple of these highlights here. Watch this. Again, I love it every single time. Just such good understanding of what's about to happen that they know they have all the tools to answer it, so they get to play with ultimate confidence. Even Ebby, actually, I think, throwing the stun down in the wrong direction. I didn't notice that the first time around. I don't know if that was expecting them to run past or flash away, but it didn't end up going to fruition for DFM.
Every time I see
going
that.
forwards, yeah. So obviously, Secret played that fantastically, like the perfect timing. Wait for them to use all their CC, then Abyssal dive out, and Recap just putting the Chrono Shift onto Ino for good measure. Sol just, yeah, he don't miss.
I feel like it's deja vu. Go on, bro. Take it away.
It's just so mind-blowing. I feel like this opens a whole new door of possibilities, right? And maybe we do have to temper our expectations a little bit long-term, but that's no fun. Let's go wild with possibilities, right? Rascal Jester have proved that DFM can bleed. They are mortal. They have shown them to have weaknesses that need to be worked on, and I think that can't be highlighted any more so than, as you guys already touched on, I know played the side lane situations so well as we do flash over to this decisive Dragon Soul fight where Evie just felt so out of it all along. That Gnar trying to do everything it could to zone, but in the end, it's his backline that's getting dived on, right? And they just cannot find any sort of angle left at that point in the game. So far behind, Soul just continuing to style with the Rockets. I'm not sure he missed a single one that game. But to me, the biggest contrast in how this game was played out was this is old Evie. This is Evie saying, Gnar, Renekton. This isn't new Evie. This is an undefeated Evie with new DFM. This isn't Chad Tryndamere. This isn't Camille walking up. This is just Gnar, And Ino was the one who never looked like he was in any danger. Cool, calm, and collected in the side lane. Every time his team's making a play on the other side of the map, he pulls back with perfect poise. And it just highlights that Rascal Jester has a very high ceiling, higher than I think any of us anticipated going into the day. And yeah, tempering expectations be damned. Rascal Jester definitely firing on all cylinders in this game and threatening the top of the table. And it's just really, really cool to see.
We've still got the entirety of a third round robin to go through as well. Statistically, yeah, if Rascal Jesters are the only team to take games off DFM, obviously they'll still take first. So yeah, more people need to try and exploit the weaknesses that we've seen from DFM to the extent that Rascal Jesters.
But that's the area I want to pick on, actually. I think there was partly a bit overzealous, we will say, from DFM in the draft. Even just, I think the epitome play was when Yaharong walked forward and spammed out the emote, and then immediately got just killed by the Zillion Jarvan combo. That was like, if you could clip the game, that's it. That was the whole game right there in an instant. Having this Yuumi Ophelia spot lane, they're not notoriously good together. This isn't a lane that you put these two. You did it specifically so Harp could skedaddle off and go support Steel. Fine, but if you are not getting spam plays off, your team gets outscaled in damage, in utility, in engage even to an extent. Having the Zillion speed up on a Camille is far more consistent than a Hecarim against a Zillion Tahm Kench, right? So everything about Rascal Jester's draft really did eclipse DFM. It wasn't necessarily that DFM were approaching the draft poorly, but they definitely put themselves in a hole, and Rascal Jester knew how to really put the nails in that coffin.
They certainly did. Go for Dodge.
I just wanted to ask Melvin, like, do you think this could be a reality check for DFM? They've been able to skill check everybody so
Better
far
be.
through. Like,
Yep.
does this send a signal to them that we can't just draft whatever we want, draft reactive, and hope that our hands carry us through against our opponents now? Is there going? Do you think we're going to be seeing some more experimentation from DFM now, moving into different things, or is it just steel back on poppy duty for the rest of eternity?
I think that for the foreseeable future, we'll probably see DFM start to experiment a bit more, try out some different kind of styles, and really get a bit more. Just, I think experimental is the word for it. However, whenever they are against the top side teams, the top end of the teams, they are going to start to have to pull it together because we've seen now, if you are smart and you approach the game well, and you just let DFM get a bit too overconfident, they will throw it away. They aren't completely infallible. And I think that's very important to see for all the other teams to have that confidence, because whenever you have teams, I think that, at least for Europe, historically, it was the Super G2 roster. If you were ever in a game state where you're winning, you felt like you were still going to lose, and if you're ever losing, you thought it was already over. I think that seeing DFM go down now with these new players is very important, because it just gives teams like Sengoku, CGA, etc. that extra drive to really go, okay, if we really, really prep this, it's not just a wasted time. We can actually get the win, and that can just bump you in the standings where nobody else will be allowed.
And I think this is a very good point you just made there. Of DFM, chances are what they'll do is experiment against the likes of the V3s, the Axeses, the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks Gaming. Maybe, considering their game today,
It's hard to tell.
it's hard to tell whether we've got just an entirely new team having joined the league at the midpoint, but against these other top of the table teams, that they have to play seriously, play properly, not make perhaps quite as flagrant a draft sin as going full pick into a zillion Tom Kench, to maintain their top spot, to maintain the certainty of it at least.
Definitely. And I think the Rascal Jester is, again, the team that reality checks DFM. They were the ones that did it last time, beating them in the Juggernaut match of that 5-game slog. And the only thing that I do worry about is we've been very excited, and I feel like a note to potentially, I don't want to finish the day on a sour, but maybe this is the point where DFM goes, all right, no more messing about now. And we just see them completely go into another gear. That's my hope for
Wouldn't that
international,
also
but
be
for the
hype,
region.
though?
Yeah, exactly. Like, we don't
That
lose
would be
either way.
hype. It's like, all right,
I feel
cool.
like either way we win.
17-minute games for the rest of the season. Yeah, this is like DFM. It's
20 and 1, any percent speed run
what's that
LJL.
character who has who does all the punches and he takes the weights off and
Oh,
just like suddenly goes
I
way
know
faster?
I know exactly what you're
Rock Lee, that's his name. Yeah, he's going
I was
just
like,
going full punches and takes the weights off, and it's like, yeah, this isn't even my final form. But we'll have to see. I mean, we don't actually know the full details behind that DFM loss, other than, yeah, bit of a draft exodia. Looking forwards then, because that is the conclusion of today's games. More games will resume on Wednesday, that being the 9th. We've got Burning Core versus Rascal Jester to open it, followed by V3 versus CGA, Axis versus DFM, so we might see a little bit of spice from DFM there, and then closed out by Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks Gaming taking on Sengoku Gaming. Now that is a game to see if the Hawks have actually woken up.
I'm not casting that game, so Sengoku's going to be fine. Don't you worry, honey. You just stay safe over there. I'll leave you alone now. I won't cast any more Sengoku games, and I'll see you in like semi-finals. Maybe if I'm on an analyst desk, it won't count the curse. I don't know what it is, but I think that those games, for a lot of the cases, it's really the Burning Core Rascal Jester one that on the standings looks the most competitive. But I definitely agree with you there that it's got to be the Hawks versus Sengoku for the most actually important to see if there's a full turnaround happening and if we suddenly have 6 teams that can really mash at the top.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to be getting up early on Wednesday to see those ones. Any final thoughts before we close out the day there, Melvin Izzle?
F for Sengoku. That is all.
Dodge,
It
I know
feels
you're
like-
a Sengoku fan as well.
Yeah, but you know what? The sting of the Sengoku loss was sort of sweetened by
Yeah, it was.
everything else that happened today. It was a very bizarre day of play in terms of the
Bizarro
comps, the
day.
game result, the
Yeah.
way the games went. I feel like sort of we hit this exact midpoint of the split basically, and a world of new possibilities is open today. I'm really, really excited for the second half of the split. Yeah, this has been
Season
a
2.
banger day.
Yeah, this is almost like, this is part 2. We've got Shonen protagonist arc for SoftBank Hawks Gaming. We've got the fall of the Titan in DFM. We've got so many angles to go from this, and I am entirely for it. Thank you so much for coming along with me for this, gentlemen, and we will be closing out the day. Thank you so much for coming along, watching the stream, and we will see you next time, Wednesday the 9th. Catch you there.